All right, welcome back. We continue here with the Sports Call presented by Ireland Contracting on the Borders and Borders hotline. You see the number, give us a call. Actually, you don't. I'll tell you what it is. It's 412-575-2600. You can also tweet us at Tim Benz PGH, at KD Pump. Rob Gateway on Twitter says, how is it the Pirates have been mostly drafting pitchers for over a decade, yet the depth is this poor? And Tim, this goes down to whether it's drafting to when it comes to when you see the guys who've come up. They've had so many needs, and yet everybody comes up seems to not get the job done.
Yeah, and now they're at a point here where a lot of the guys that they have in the rotation are not their own homespun guys. You can call Williams that if you'd like, but you know, Musgrove is somebody that comes from the Astros. Williams came from outside the organization. Archer came from outside the organization. So did Musgrove. Obviously, Lyles that we just talked about. So they're not developing guys. It'll be very interesting to see what happens with Keller. I know they're really concerned about this call-up as he's developing this cutter slider of his, but they need somebody. Like Hurdle said, it's time to stop worrying about stuff like that. They need a good start from somebody.
Yeah, well, they were forced to do it with Cole Tucker. They had to do it with him. Brian Reynolds has been a nice surprise.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I wouldn't replace him. I don't care who comes back and when. He's playing well enough to continue.
Well, they've been talking about Corey Dickerson playing some infield now, right? Potentially. So
everyone's taking infield. That's how bad it's gotten right now. All right, let's go from San Antonio, who made a trip up here, wants to see us. Josiah. What's up, Josiah? How are you?
All right, so and how you doing too, Tim?
Hey.
Quick question. 2 points. Number one, I heard Rich talking the other night. He was basically saying why Kimbrel wasn't signed. Number one, he tried to get over on the Red Sox with a 6-year deal, and the way he pitched that season, it wasn't happening. Just way overrated, not as good as he used to be. And then second, Bob, I wanted to give you credit for the interview with Big Ben. You did good. My question is, why did he come out and say something now? Don't you think he should have just not mentioned it at all? Because Marcus Spears and everybody's taking all kind of shots at him.
Well, hey, Josiah, thanks as always. Appreciate your call. I think everyone's been taking. This has been an off season of taking shots at Ben Roethlisberger. I don't care. He hasn't said anything. At some point, he was going to have to talk, and he had to address these things. And I was glad that he chose me to do it, but he did it with the media right after that. And to me, this whole thing comes back to Antonio Brown. I'm sorry. I'm not a defender of anyone. I try to look at it. They had chances to work this out, Tim. They did for a long period of time. And whatever happened in the locker room, it never got done. All of a sudden, now it's become an issue, and it became an issue, strangely, the last week of the season, right after Antonio Brown's arguably best game of the year.
Yeah, I know what some people are saying, like the less he says, the better. But to a point, I believe that he does have to come out and say something, or maybe even should have done it earlier because the logo was being attacked. It wasn't just behooving Ben to stay quiet. So, you know, as was tweeted out at one point by Juju Smith-Schuster, you know, if you start arguing with fools, figure out who's the actual fool, or words to that effect, right? But in my opinion, Ben, along the way, had to stick up for himself and by extension stick up for the logo, because the team was also getting trashed a little bit too. They don't treat me like a human, right. Remember all that stuff? You know, that's kind of where Ben, as a leader and somebody who wants to be a face of the team, he can counter that and volley back on that serve.
I still come back to what I said at the beginning. This is all about money for Antonio Brown. He was leveraging everything against the Steelers in an effort to get an opportunity somewhere. He saw a diminished field of people who were interested. Buffalo was one of them. He blew that off. He won just about everything he could win here, except he's hurt his personality. I think he's hurt his brand. I don't know if he still has the Pepsi ad. But if he does, I got to believe they got to reconsider that too.
Yeah, there is a Pepsi ad that's still in the works with Antonio Brown. I believe it's Orange Vanilla Cream Mr. Big Chest. So that's it's still out there. The brand, business is still booming, Bob.
Business still booming. All right. It's got a lot of fizz in it, I bet. Let's go to Bob in Clearfield. What's up, Bob? How are you?
Hi, gentlemen. Thank you very much. The Chris Archer situation wouldn't be so bad if he was a Jeff Suppan, Rick Russell type of innings eater, guy whose career one-lock records are not all that impressive, but they don't burn out bullpens. While they give up some runs, they're out there chewing through mountains of innings. And more often than not, sometime during the course of the game, more often than not, they give their team a position where they have a chance to win. Chris Archer's not that type. And now they seem to be putting the season right on to Mitch Keller, an untested rookie. Well, and yet all the guys they're bringing up to this point, are unfortunately are just career AAA journeymen, and that's who you do not win championships with. So thank you very much, guys.
All right, Bob, good call. Tim, what's your take on that?
My big take on the Archer trade right now is it's time to drop the defense of, well, you can't evaluate the Archer trade based on who went out the door in Meadows and Glasnow and Baz. And a lot of people have kind of involved this whole Zane Smith school of thought. in the sense that it's not about who you lost and how well they play, a la Moises Alou after he left the Pirates organization for Smith, because, well, Smith got the job done that he was required to do to get here, get over on the Mets and get the Pirates in the playoffs a couple times. Archer's not going to do that. They're not getting the playoffs, and he hasn't been anything close to what Smith was when he came. You can't, if you're just going to evaluate the deal based on who Archer is, that's not good, because he's 1-5 with a 5.75, and what is he now? Something like 4-8 with an ERA in the mid-4s since he's become a Pirate in the first place.
And that's not what they wanted us.
No.
If he had been, what he was at one point of his
That's
career,
not even good.
it
If the
would
other
have been
guys
fine.
went to Tampa, then they stunk.
Oh, and now Meadows today goes 4 for 4, hits his 10th home run. When this trade happened, were you on board with it?
I was on board with the notion of getting Archer until Meadows got thrown in. Now that's been buffered by the fact that they've got Reynolds, and Dickerson ended up being a good player. But I still didn't like the fact that Meadows was thrown in the deal. That's where I fell off the Archer trade bandwagon. I appreciate the effort. I like the player well enough, but I was not a fan of Meadows being thrown in the deal.
And Shane Baz was 12th overall as a selection. They essentially gave up 3 number-1 picks, as it turned out, for Chris Archer. And now those guys, even though I think today Glasnow went on the 60-day disabled. So he's got something going on there, and that's not good after his amazing start. Let's go out to line 1. That's Jim in Castle Shannon. Jim, how are you?
Hey, Bob, how you doing?
What's up, man?
Hey, I think the Steelers should get rid of Archer. He's not a good pitcher at all. And it was a bad mistake getting rid of Meadows and Glasgow. And number 3 is the Pirates have to win 54 games for me to win my bet over 78.5. And then you got 110 games left. And St. Louis Blues is going to beat the Boston
Bruins is the team you're looking for, yes.
Yeah. You were 3 for 4 on that call, I think.
Yeah, Tyler Glasgow. I didn't know he had a Scottish accent, did you?
You're having thing Rothenberger and Malcolm.
Oh, yeah,
You know,
yeah, Malcolm.
All right, we got to take a break.
What do you think about the Boston whoever's against the St. Louis Blues?
I think the whoever's have a pretty good shot, even though I like the Blues.
The Celtics are the one team from Boston I wanted to see win a championship. I'm a longtime Celtics fan. That's the one team from Boston that isn't going to win a
He
title.
spent time in Boston. He knows how tough it is up there.
And it is going to be
But-
insufferable if they win.
How about if they had all
It is
4
now already.
current
We could-
championships? They
yeah.
could have 3, but Celtics bowed out ahead of time.
How are the Revolution doing this year, Bob? You staying up to date on that?
I might have to.
How'd the
based on
Boston
this.
College women's lacrosse team do today? I lost track.
Maryland, Brad, and Pete, you're all coming up next. Don't go away. You're watching the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call right here on Pittsburgh CW.